Okay, so I'll be talking actually mainly about the topic e-government and business reengineering, the link and the challenge. 50% of, I will spend the next 20 minutes talking only 50% of my presentation, and the other 50 I will tell you about at the end of the presentation. Feel free to download this presentation if you want. You can find it on the help desk booth. So the presentation is there, download it and share it. You can talk to me during the event, after the event, at any time. You are most welcome. So what's the problem that we want to tackle today? And this has been actually the subject matter of the first panel. We want to highlight the roadmap for driving successful integrated government services, and at the same time, which should be in parallel, going hand in hand with a government business reengineering initiative. These are two subjects, or these are two topics that they go hand in hand. In Kuwait, in Canada, in the US, everywhere else, we cannot implement government integrated services electronically unless they go hand in hand with a business reengineering initiative or task. To cover this topic, I will talk about the transformation of the government, the business reengineering puzzle, why it is difficult, the challenges of the e-government. There are three of them: the process, people, and product, and what are the success factors. And finally, we will touch on a call to action. And the call to action, I think, is very specific to the case in Kuwait. So how do we view the government? The government is a perpetual, first of all, this is a perpetual enterprise. It has to be there, and it is always there. The government is a constant organization to rule and to control and to govern. Years ago, hundreds of years ago, we were using the feather, then the pen or pencil, then the calculator, then computers, different stages of computing, then until we reach to the stage of e-government. The e-government, as we know it today, tomorrow it might change to something else. We cannot expect what it will be, but it will evolve into some other types of information or of dealing with the people. So at the end of the day, the government should be, or we should view the government in the e-government era as a service delivery apparatus. It is delivering services which are ever growing and changing, ever improving, growing and changing the services. The demands are changing, the services are changing, and the delivery channels are changing. We used to go to government agencies, visit the offices, move from one location to another. With the e-government era, that should change. That's not acceptable anymore. And from now on, in the e-government era, we should start to see the government as a collection of services. And this is what we call the service-oriented government. So the government now, in this case, will be an electronic service catalog or repository. The departments go into the background. We no longer see the financial department the engineering department, the sales department. We don't see the building. We don't go there altogether. We barely have to visit the government agencies. And at the same time, the services are or has to be delivered all the time, around the clock, 24 by 7. So the citizen will see only a services catalog. This is very important in the age of e-government. And we replace those visits with accessing those services through our devices. Those devices could be a mobile phone, a tab, a desktop computer. Uh, Regardless, tomorrow we will find some other types of devices, maybe IoT based devices, clocks, whatever. So what's the problem that we need to talk about? We have different kinds of government services. We have single government services, which are require a single step, single government agency, and they don't interchange information with any other government or with any other services, whether within the same government agency or outside the government agency. And we have at the same time integrated uh, uh, government services or integrated electronic services. Those integrated electronic services consist of many single electronic services. So it is a multi-step process where multi-government agencies may be involved or will be involved, and each service will exchange data between itself and the other electronic services along the way. And in order to deliver a complete set or a service, we need those types of services to make one electronic service, or those single services to make one electronic service. So the problem is that we have a lot of those. In the government agencies, we have thousands of government services delivered to citizens, delivered to residents, delivered to other governments even. And we need to take that puzzle and convert it to a smooth shape, a smooth format. And this is what we call the government process reengineering, where each service we define how it is related to other services and how they exchange data, what data they exchange with other services, what are the governing rules by which the data is exchanged, who can authorize it. So all those details has to be defined in a government process re-engineering. And the gentleman or the audience of the first panel, they talked about that issue extensively, that uh, uh, the business re-engineering task is a mandatory step in order for us to be able to deliver or to develop integrated government services. In a simple way, we can say that if we have service 1 or service 2 or service 1 could be composed of a process in the government agency number 9, process number 7 in government agency number 20, and another process 1 from government agency number 11. So these 3 might be also 7 or 10 or 5. Okay, this will consist or compose service 1 and the rest for service 2 and 3. The complexity of the business re-engineering exercise lies in the so many factors. Uh, there are a large number of services delivered by all government agencies. We all know that, okay? And there are each service might be composed of multiple processes from different agencies, and the order of execution of those single services to form the single one service is has to be defined clearly. And also we have to define what information has to be exchanged or are exchanged between different services, and what are the governing regulations or security regulations that control uh, the exchange of this information. And at the same time, we all know that government agencies today operate in different silos. Each silo, even within the same organization, we have different silos. And each of them have its characteristic and boundaries that they want to protect. And also in such a complex environment, we have to identify what are the shared services that all other services might need. And an example is for example, the PASI services, or the people identification services in Kuwait, where you have a civil service number that identifies you. So every transaction might require that an identification of who's doing or who's requesting that service. So this is one service which is shared among all other services. Another example is payment for services, for example. So we deliver only one or two payment services, and everybody else will use those services. In a nutshell, an electronic service will consist of so many single services. They pass through a device, they pass through a process, and we end up with an electronic service, like, for example, printing the residence permit. Tomorrow, it might have a different shape, how the permit looks like. There are actually three challenges that face the e-government process and the business re-engineering. This is what we call the 3 Ps. And the 3 Ps is an very old concept. Every process that we do in life, okay, requires three factors: a product factor, a process factor, and a people factor. And these factors change over time. For example, with automation, with advanced automation, the people factor they will shift the delivery from handmade deliverables into intellectual deliverables, while the product will take over the dirty jobs, what we call it, the manufacturing processes that we know today. And this does not differ whether we are talking about the type of industry, regardless of the industry, the complexity, the geography, the organization. Always we need three elements to achieve any business objective. For each of these processes, there is a complexity in each of them. In the product area, we need the computing infrastructure, the development framework, the database technologies, governance framework, disaster recovery, and business continuity. And this is very important in an environment where we need to deliver 24/7 services. cybersecurity tools, which again, very important issue that face nations today. And also at the same time, finally, you need a call center tool in order to be in contact with people all the time on a 24 by 7 basis. When it comes to people, uh, to lead those e-government, integrated e-government development, and the business re-engineering, we need leaders and strategists who can do that. We need enterprise architects, uh, and we need technical expertise in various technology disciplines. We need administration and finance staff, portfolio and project managers, auditors, governance, and cybersecurity staff. We need qualified staff for the job. We cannot depend anymore on non-professionals to do jobs in these uh, areas. At the same time, we should start doing things in a systematic way according to best practices that are implemented worldwide. On the processes cycle, we should also revamp, change the way we do things. Okay. Uh, we should start by setting our visions, strategies, objectives, KPIs, and project portfolio. Uh, Everything we do should start by defining our vision. What do we want to do? What's our strategy? What are our objectives and KPIs and so on? Because we need a monitoring and a feedback step all the way. Okay, back to normal. We need a well-defined organization structure, and we need well-defined business processes, clear job responsibilities, clear reporting, follow-up, and review practices, adherence to business governance framework. All these are required in an area where we need to embark on serious and implementable e-government exercise and business processes exercise. So what are the success factors? I think we summarized some of them, but we need to stress on certain things. That we need to start with a vision. We should develop a strategy, and that strategy drive the objectives out of that strategy, and when define our KPIs for those objectives. And we should have a plan, qualified resources, clear business processes. We need to use intelligent and new tools and technology tools like artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented reality, virtual reality. We should support that with regulations and rules, legislations that uh, we might need to make new ones in order to be able to implement such a change in the whole area of how we do business in government agencies. And finally, we need a political support. Without political support, as was mentioned and highlighted clearly in the first panel today, okay, nothing could be done. Political support is a key factor in implementing such a huge task. So, we consider the e-government as a unique project. In conventional projects, uh, like for example, the Sheikh Jaber bridge. Okay, this is a project. It is a huge, yes, but at the end of the day, it is a project. It conforms the concepts of the project, which has an initiation phase, a planning phase, an execution phase, and a closing phase. It starts at a certain point of time, it ends at another point of time. Okay, and it is implemented or executed according to certain quality and to certain uh, um, characteristics. The e-government project, on the other hand, okay, this is a different type of project. It is non-stop project. We continuously have to add new services to improve existing ones, to change them even, to remove some of them, to respond to these changes that are growing in the society, to respond to socio-economic and political changes, and also to change and upgrade technologies all the time. So in that perspective, yes, e-government is a technology project. No, the e-government is not a typical technology project. It is something else. It is a continuous project which violates the concepts, the or acknowledged concepts of project management. So uh, the call for action, and as I said at the beginning, this is what I feel uh, uh, needs to be done in Kuwait in order to embark on a real project or a real effort to develop integrated e-government services, which should be associated with a uh, uh, business re-engineering or business process re-engineering initiative. We need to change how we view e-government. And we talked about this. It is not a technology project. It's not another application, another system that we develop. It is a continuous process. It is similar to the government. The government uses the government is a constant device, and at the same time the e-government is the tool that the government uses. So this is, it goes along with the government all the time. We have to renovate the e-government strategy. Kuwait's e-government strategy was started in, or was set in 2006. Okay, and till now, there have been some trials to improve it, but unfortunately, uh, today it requires a complete renovation because, okay, the world has changed, technology has changed. We're in a completely different area today. We have to implement the project with the 3 Ps, those three factors in mind. What are the success factors in mind also? And we have to implement through an enterprise architecture framework. We can no longer live where we just take a bits and piece of any project and try to implement it in a fragmented way. There should be a holistic view of what the architecture will be of the e-government of Kuwait, and implement that through an enterprise architecture framework, the proper ones that are well known in the world, for TUGAF, for example. We should use modern project management tools like Agile and DevOps, and we should use modern technologies, cloud, AI, artificial reality, machine learning. These will enhance the speed by which also we can develop services. Services can no longer wait for years in order to do them or to develop them. We have to build the governance and cybersecurity structure, and it has to be done by design. We should design the new things with cybersecurity in mind. Okay, and I will refer you to read a lot about Anne Cavakian. She was a Canadian IT security commissioner for a long time. She has a very robust framework for how do we build cybersecurity by design. And we should hire the right international caliber while developing Kuwaiti expertise. Developing local expertise is very important and a crucial step, especially when it comes to, for example, cybersecurity. But this is a very long step. You cannot wait until you have your locals ready. So you start with you hire and right international caliber, start the development, and build the local national expertise along the way. And finally, we should have a strict and solid change management policy, because in e-government processes, these ongoing things, okay, require a solid change management policy, because we are always in a state of change. I am concluding now. I personally believe that the social and economic reform can be achieved via digital transformation if well presented, well executed. And here I'll go back to when I started to say that the other 50% of my presentation is at the end. Actually, this is TEDx speech by a Australian lady who introducing the experience of Austria in developing their e-government process. They have started in 2000. It is an amazing story. I urge everybody to view that video. Actually, it is a hyperlinked in my presentation, which you can, as I told you, you can download through the help desk of this event. And finally, I would like to thank all of you for listening. And at the same time, I welcome any questions, whether now or whether during these 2 days or even beyond. And thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.